Well, Jim, let's get to some of the big topics, some of the big news items that a bunch of the listeners have been sending over, so they're unavoidable. We must discuss them. Jim, as you may or may not have heard already, last week came the news that Marko Stunt has announced his retirement from wrestling. Have you heard about this?
I saw something briefly on the social media, but obviously there have been other things going on the past few days that I haven't really investigated further otherwise than I think it was either somebody had a headline, Marko Stunt retires, or somebody said, "What are your thoughts on Marko Stunt's retirement?" I didn't know that he hadn't already retired. I mean, has he still been doing this type of thing since we've seen him? It hasn't been long enough that since we've seen him, but it's been quite a while. Was he still perpetrating this type of activity?
He must have been doing something somewhere, and we did see him on AEW programming recently with Jack Perry.
Now, hold on now. Just how did he? Of course, he was doing something somewhere.
I don't know where.
Even if he was in an iron lung, he was goddamn doing something somewhere. Yeah, he's laying there motionless in an iron lung. But I'm talking about, has he actually been imitating wrestling still at this point?
Other than that appearance we saw from him on AEW TV, I have no idea. But we have a statement. We have an official statement.
Oh, is that from his probation officer, or?
According to this, it's the title of it is Notes App Text Thingy.
I'm sorry, what now?
It's his Notes App Text Thingy.
Okay, is this code? Is he being held hostage? And do we need to get out our decoder rings and try to, what the fuck does that mean?
I think he's just trying to sound cute, but here's his message. To my fans, friends, and the wrestling community.
But his voice wasn't that deep when he actually said this.
Today I write this with a heavy, yet grateful heart, as I announce...
No, there's nothing on his body that's heavy. They have to tie him down on windy days.
Come on, we're a sentence in. Hold on. I write this with a heavy, yet grateful heart, as I announce my retirement from professional wrestling. This decision was not an easy one.
Well, wait a minute now. Now when we're talking about grateful hearts, now that he's got to the meat of the matter, everybody's grateful.
This decision was not an easy one, as wrestling has been the biggest part of my life for so long, filled with moments that have shaped who I am today. Like when that guy pushed my face onto that dildo in the fucking room.
I was about to say. There have been people that have been captives, have been hostages of fucking home invaders and not been forced to do the things that he's done in the fucking wrestling industry.
It has been an incredible journey, one full of passion, sweat, tears, and unrivaled joy. Over the years, I've given my body up to professional wrestling. I am obviously not the biggest, and I used that, and I allowed myself to be battered. But man, did I love it. However, after consulting with my doctor, I was advised to prioritize my long-term health and step down from in-ring competition.
Where is this a recent, did he just now consult with a doctor? Or would a doctor have told him that about 7 or 8 years ago when he first saw him doing his shit?
Imagine you're a doctor and this is your patient. You walk in. So tell me about yourself. What's wrong? Well, I'm a professional wrestler. The guy's like, what? How?
Well, remember this? This guy, he was doing some type of sunset flippage activity, Canadian Destroyer, whatever, off of a bar, an actual bar in a bar where they were having a show, and hit a railing and broke his leg before. And wouldn't a doctor at that point have said, "What? Look at the state of you, and what are you doing?"
Take up books. But let me continue here.
He can't pick them up.
Accepting this reality has been one of the toughest moments of my career, but I know it's the right decision. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest gratitude to All Elite Wrestling, AEW. Thank you for giving me the chance to showcase my abilities and share my passion with fans around the world. That used to be code for, like, I fuck people everywhere. I share my passion everywhere I go. Being able to wrestle on national television was a dream I could hardly have imagined when I first stepped into the business.
No shit.
And it was AEW that made that dream come true. To everyone involved in AEW, from the production crew to the fellow wrestlers who became my family, thank you for believing in me and giving me a place to call home. I also want to thank you to Brett Lauderdale and Game Changer Wrestling, GCW. Brett, you gave me my start. And
So he's the one to blame if anybody wants to pick up a pitchfork.
And GCW became the launching pad for my career. It was where I discovered my voice, learned to embrace my uniqueness, and grew into the person and wrestler I am today. You provided me with the opportunities that changed the course of my life, and for that, I will always be indebted to you, unless you ask for money. I added that part. To all the wrestlers I've shared the ring with,
To all the wrestlers I've loved before.
to all the wrestlers I've shared the ring with, you know who you are. Hold on.
And you prefer to remain nameless. So hopefully the fans will forget.
It's such a weird way of putting it. You know who you are.
Yeah, every one of you has asked me not to mention you and bring that memory up again.
Each of you has played a role in my journey, teaching me lessons, pushing me to my limits, and sharing unforgettable moments. Whether we battled as opponents or stood together as allies,
Oh, good.
you
Lord.
all hold a special place in my heart.
Does he sound like he's on some kind of Lord of the Rings quest bullshit going on here with the...
Lastly, to the fans who cheered, supported, and believed in me throughout every match and every show, thank you. Your energy, chants, and unwavering support fueled me more than you'll ever know. You are the heart and soul of this industry, and without you, none of this would have been possible.
Oh, so now we got to blame everybody.
As I step away from the ring, I take with me
There's
memories
more.
and friendships that will last a lifetime. While I may be retiring from in-ring competition, wrestling will always be a part of who I am. I'll be working a match with my pillow later today. No. I hope to continue contributing to this amazing industry in different ways and to stay connected with all of you who made this dream a reality. Thank you for everything. And this is from Marko Stunt.
Look, I have never met this little fellow. So he could be the nicest, most polite little church mouse that's ever been. Although, from the way he was so convincingly a little fucking annoying prick on camera, one would think that it might lean in that direction, but I don't know for sure. But I have no personal grudge against this guy, otherwise than it was fucking embarrassing. It was embarrassing to the business. And it's typical that he thanked two guys, the head of Garbage Championship Wrestling, that idolizes the bank addicted drug robber and will put anybody.
He fell out with them, apparently. He's no longer working with them.
Oh, I thought you meant he fell off the wagon.
Well, maybe that too, actually. I'm not sure.
Well, but the point is that they love that kind of outlaw bullshit, phony indie wrestling.
Super fringe.
Super fringe. And, you know, they have fucking 400 people in a bar that are just loving this little fucking fellow doing all this shit while they're drunk. And it creates an atmosphere that these small-time, this guy Fort Lauderdale or whatever, these small-time promoters that are marks themselves love this kind of sideshow bullshit. And then he thanks Tony Khan because Tony Khan is the only guy ever with $1 billion that has also had some kind of fascination with the smallest common denominator indie bullshit wrestling, and they put something like that on national television and not only make the business look bad, but made their business look bad initially when they're trying to compete. Even then, they had when they had initially came on the air, AEW was still trying to compete with the WWE, who had an evil owner that people didn't like, but it was still a goddamn halfway professional program if you didn't look at some of the content. And it was another amateur hour, self-inflicted wound by AEW to have this little fucking trained chimpanzee interacting with legitimate wrestlers. And as I believe we mentioned after that first injury, I think we said, wake up, ding dong. Yes, you're 120 fucking pounds doing all this shit. And no, it's not going to be smart. It's not going to last long. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? It wasn't that smart and it didn't last that long. So I'm not like, oh, I'm glad he's in pain forever and must retire and sell pencils in the street. If he's however old he fucking is and he thought he was going to be a professional wrestler for the next 25 years or make enough money at it to retire, then he's out of his fucking mind anyway. So I would assume he's going to have another line of work. So I'm not vilifying him or, setting fire to him in the town square, but no, he was embarrassing to wrestling, and it was indicative of the indie-minded shit that a lot of wrestling promotions have, trying to appeal to the same small audience that they present on their programs that prevents the mainstream audience, the much larger one, that are following the big guys to joining their little fucking group and their effort. It makes them look fucking local cable and fucking funny. I'll giggle at that. Yeah, look at that bullshit. But they're spending money on the WWE because they're not fucking broadcasting children wrestling. But all the best to him.